Governor, can you give us an update? Can you give us an update on your health, Governor? And do you think you should get a more thorough checkup after what happened last night?
I'm going down to Mayo this afternoon to get checked out more thoroughly. EMTs came last night to the residence, and all my symptoms were normal. And I felt at that point that I didn't need further medical attention at that time. And the doctor from Mayo called me to discuss the situation, and I made a decision that I could best serve my health by getting a good night's sleep in my own bed, and that's what I did. I take it very seriously. I have an obligation to people in Minnesota. That's why I'm in the process of scheduling for the tests down in Mayo this afternoon.
What exactly happened to you last night? When did you feel this come on? What was your experience?
And just really at the very end, I was not aware of any problem. I stumbled going up, and that wasn't related to what happened later. I just stumbled, and I felt stronger in the speech. It was hot there. I was perspiring some, but it really was just at the very, very end there. I mean, I saw the video where I paused, took a drink of water, and then stumbling through words before but that was a very brief episode. It really was just maybe less than a minute before that I started to think, wow, I'm starting to have problems here. And I just came up on me before I could do anything about it. The speech was too long. I learned that one. I asked Hugo, my 4-year-old grandson, on the way home, did you think Grandpa had a good speech? And he said, no. So I stand next to your shoulder. I got panned a couple years ago for being too short, and so this one was an attempt to, anyway.
How often, recent appearances,
how often
you've seen the pain and you've grimaced at times when you move about. Last night you were on your feet for more than 40 minutes, and there are the daily rigors of being governor. I mean, how much pain are you in? I'm
not in any pain. I do have problems standing for lengths of time, and the second spinal surgery bone did not heal entirely, I'm told. So I still have a couple of screws loose. My spine, not my brain. But so I don't have I don't have the kind of stability that I had 10, 20 years ago, which I have today. But that's just a reality and the limp has preceded any of those issues. Again, it's related to the stenosis of the spine that gave the reason for those surgeries. But I don't have any pain, and that's the great part of it all. I will, though, in the interest of full disclosure, say that I learned last week I had a biopsy that I do have prostate cancer. And it's good news is that, as they say, it's one of the best success stories, and it, by all indications is extended beyond the prostate. So I'll be going down next week to Mayo to determine the best course of treatment, which is probably either surgery or radiation. I know that Secretary of State John Kerry had prostate surgery a couple years ago, and he's been flying all over the world. So I don't expect it to, other than in a very short period of time, to impede my performance and my responsibilities. But again, I'll know more next week.
Did you indeed lose consciousness last night?
I'm sorry?
Did you indeed lose consciousness last night?
Briefly, for about 5, 10 seconds, I was told by Dr. Jensen. It was great, really great to come up as quickly as he did. And of course, the security people with me are treated to the EMT as well, so that was their assessment. I don't remember hitting my head. Didn't have any headache or any feelings from that. So I take their word, 5 to 10 seconds, I was unconscious.
Governor, I have to ask, you fainted in front of a statewide audience. You just announced you have cancer. Are you still up to doing the job?
I think I am. If I don't, I won't continue, but I believe I am. I said when I have a hip surgery, there are no brain cells in my hip, and as far as I know, no brain cells in my prostate either.
Do you intend to finish this term?
Absolutely. Good Lord willing.
Governor, when were you diagnosed with prostate cancer? How long ago?
Well, preliminarily, I was down for my annual physical 2 weeks ago, and the PSA, I think it's called, whatever, was high. So then I had a biopsy last Wednesday down in Mayo, and then received those results on last Friday at noon, which confirmed that it is cancer, almost certainly, and that it has not spread, almost certainly.
Governor, have you had any consultation with your doctors yet about how long treatment is going to take and how long it will take you out of your duties as governor?
I have not. Those will be conversations next week.
Is this afternoon's appointment just sitting down talking to the doctor, or are you going to do a test, or are you going to be there overnight?
Well, I'm not planning on it. We'll see what the test show, but there were comments made. I concur that I should get carefully checked out after just as after last night, not related to prostate issues. So that's when I'm going down to make that determination, give myself, give my family, give Minnesota the assurance that I'm functioning normally, which I certainly believe I am.
Governor, given the sequence of events, a number of things happening internationally, have you considered perhaps as an alternative for a short period of time offloading some of the responsibility to your very capable commissioners, just to give yourself a little bit of a break?
Well, I've offloaded the responsibilities, I don't use that word, but I'm fortunate I have a tremendous staff in the governor's office. I have a tremendous lieutenant governor who takes a lot of the travel and those responsibilities, and I have tremendous commissioners, as you say, who carry it very well. So, I mean, it's a really great team. I'm very blessed to have a really great team, and Minnesota should be assured that we have a really great team that are working all together to provide them with the best possible services. When USA Today said we're the second best run state in the country, I take, based on last year, I take that as a reaffirmation that we have doing a darn good job on behalf of Minnesota.
Are you thinking, Governor, that you might just ease back slightly until you get the results?
I'm just not going to say till next week.
Governor, are you convinced there's no connection between what happened last night and the prostate cancer, or these two different issues?
I believe they're two separate issues. I'm not a doctor, but I don't believe there's any connection.
Governor, I think twice.
I don't feel anything. I would know I had prostate cancer when I went for the test. I don't feel any.
Are you now a believer in the PSA test? There's been a lot of controversy over that, but in your case, could it save your life?
It did. I mean, no question. And annual physical a year ago, and it was normal. And then I had the annual physical where the 12 months later where it spiked up. And based on that, the internist made a preliminary diagnosis that it could well be a tumor, and they did the biopsy last Wednesday and found it was. So absolutely, that detection, and if it's true that it's been contained within the prostate because I had that assessment made and because of proper treatment, and no question that saved my life.
Will you have chemo and radiation, or do you know what?
I don't know. That's the options next week.
Aside from the 2 times you fainted in public, have there been any other times that you fainted?
Back in 1992, I was state auditor, and we had all of the auditors from all over the state assembled for our annual training. And I woke up that morning in sort of intense abdominal pain, and it got more intense as I was giving my speech, and I passed out. One of the auditors said, "That was the most interesting presentation we've had all And so I had an emergency appendectomy that afternoon. That's the only other time.
Governor Dayton, other than fainting episode last year.
A couple times playing hockey, I got caught.
Have you been hospitalized at all last year, other than that fainting episode last year?
No, I've gone down for a routine, medical treatments as an outpatient, but I just, annual physical or have x-rays on my spine. But no, I've not been hospitalized for anything.
Governor, that room last night changed from politics to a human being in the blink of an eye. What your thoughts on that, the way people responded?
Well, if I'd known that it was going to result in the Republicans not criticizing my speech, I might have tried it years ago.
Were you concerned when Republican doctors were helping you?
I was very grateful. I was very grateful for the Majority Leader, Senator Guzalka, the Speaker Dowd, and everybody commenting as they did. I got multiple texts and expressions of support and concern, and as you said last night, something like this happens, we're all Minnesotans, and I'm very, very grateful for the genuine support that's come on a totally non-partisan, non-political basis.
Governor, was your diagnosis made down at Mayo, I take it, and that's where your treatment is going to be as well?
Yes.
Governor, I think you said the doctor called you today. Did the doctor call you just out of clear blue, or had you put a call in today? I thought you said the doctor called you.
Well, actually, through Twitter, I guess, my physician down in Rochester learned of my plight, and he called me last night at the residence, so we talked over my situation and decided that it wasn't necessary for me to seek further treatment. This was after the EMTs had been there and gone, while they were still there, actually. So I took the initiative this morning to contact his office and see about going down for any additional testing.
Do you think that's special treatment? They never do that with me.
Well, if one of the perks of the job is you get into Mayo at short notice, I guess that is. It's not one of the ones I was actually bargaining for when I sought the job, but...
Governor, what was your reaction when you went with the diagnosis? I mean, you're joking now, and a lot of people do that when they receive pretty bad news, but you just stunned Minnesota in two different ways in 2 different days. I mean, what was your mood when you received the diagnosis?
Well, obviously it was a grim diagnosis. It was, I'd had friends who had prostate cancer and had surgery and had even 4 or 5 years ago, so they were probably early in their 60s, and I always thought I was incredibly fortunate because cancer seems to me like Russian roulette. You don't really, I believe, you don't really know what causes it, especially something like this, and it was, every time I get a clean bill of health in my annual physical, I was on my knees thanking the Lord for that clean bill of health. So now I lived a long time. I'll be 70 on Thursday. I feel very blessed and have as healthy a life as I've had, despite some of my recent surgeries. I mean, generally speaking, I've been incredibly fortunate as I look at other people's life experiences. So, it's grim, but it is what it is. It's not that uncommon, and as they said down there, it's one of their best success stories. So you have to do what you have to do in life. I tell my young staff, they just follow my advice, I'll have no problems in life, just don't get old. And I said today, don't work for somebody who's old either, maybe consider. My chief of staff said that she's going to file out for workers' comp because I gave her a heart attack last night.
Is there a family history?
Right?
Is there a family history?
My father had prostate cancer surgery 25 years before he passed on, and down at Mayo, and they told him 5 years later that he would die of something, but it wouldn't be prostate cancer. So I hope for the same result. I don't particularly want to live to be 97, but I hope for the same result with prostate cancer.
Governor, had you planned to tell the public that you had been diagnosed with prostate cancer prior to what happened last night, and if so, when?
We talked about it again. I was trying to wait until next week when I had the consultation with the doctors. Had to be more explicit about what exactly the course of treatment would be. But after what happened last night, my staff and I, they urged me to make a complete disclosure now, just to not to for the timing of it. But I would have disclosed it as soon as I knew myself what the facts of the situation are.
So is it possible it could change? Any update once you go into the consultation?
I mean, so far they've told me what they know, which is based on the testing they've done, an MRI, which they say is quite accurate, and a biopsy from last week that is a tumor within the prostate, contained within the prostate. They tested in the biopsy for cells that are immediately outside of the prostate. There's no evidence of the cancer having spread. So that's based on everything they know at this point. And if obviously their information changes, then they may change their assessment, but that's where we're standing now.
Have you thought about how you would balance your own desire for medical privacy with public's obvious interest?
I think I gave up my medical privacy about 6 years ago, as I should. I mean, my health is a legitimate public issue. People deserve a governor who's on the job, who's qualified to perform the job intellectually and physically. I believe I am. I believe my performance has demonstrated that I am. But I expect to be judged for how well I perform.
Governor, we hear often that prostate cancer is a kind of an inert form of cancer that people can live with for decades, not even know they have. Did the doctors discuss that possibility that this is sort of an inert thing that may not even be that great of a concern?
Well, something we'll discuss next week. I mean, I'm not qualified to say what it is or isn't. I'll depend on them to make the recommendation for how to proceed. Now, if someone asks that question, if I could avoid surgery or radiation, I'd be thrilled to be able to avoid it. But I also want. I've got another little grandson who's supposed to ride this week. I'll learn you around.
Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you very much.
We're with you, Governor.
Thank you.
Commissioner?